stand-up. It was excellent. I figured, we need to implement that, make this more fun. Okay, so
Hey, I don't know what the non-aft is. I saw that in some descriptions, and I don't know that. Like hats, I get hats, but I don't know what non-aft is.
Non-aft was something that we just came up with. I have no idea where that term even came from either. So, but it was just called non-aft when we were just having a scrum.
What does it refer to?
I actually, like I said, I have no idea. It was just started being called non-aft. It was just like another stand. It's not like
starboard. It's not aft.
So
what? It's basically like when you go and do a scrum, like a daily stand-up, but with selected people for a selected project, is where it started getting called non-aft.
Nice. This will end up in a book somewhere at some point, and we'll be like, yeah. Back in March of 2017, we developed, non-aft, and it happened.
And Lee Kelly is in charge of that. There you
go.
Clearly, that's a non-aft scrum solution.
And you have to wear non-aft hats.
You might need to talk to Lee Kelly about that. That's clearly non-aft. You might need to talk to Lee Kelly.
I have no idea. No, it was just called non-aft, and the hat thing was completely different. So non-aft hat meetings. There you go. It's a whole new scrum, agile
Where
process.
Are you?
I'm sorry?
What was that, Mary
No,
Michael?
I'm sorry, I talked over you. Joe, where in the world are you?
Are we at the CrossTalk part? Because if we are, then yes.
Almost there. We need to vote.
Oh, we have to vote. Go.
Oh,
So
sorry.
let's figure out what our process improvement was. I remember I heard sleeping more from Gunnar. I put out one for completing a buffer item for the sprint or for the week, or at least one or two. Was there another one out there? I think some of them sounded like it was going to be a couple weeks out, or after they move, or after they get back from vacation, taking better of health. Michael, did I miss something that you had given us? Nope.
Technical difficulties. I think Lauren had something about solar, but I didn't catch all of it.
That's right, solar. He wanted to.
I'm gonna withdraw that one because I'm keen on the. Joe wants the burn down, and that's more of a process improvement than what I was talking about. Mine could be a back pocket.
I'm grooving. I gotta say, the burn down and the self-care item, I think those really apply to pretty much the whole team.
Okay, so we have self burn down. Number 2 is having a burn down chart. Number 3 then is having at least one of the buffer items completed.
Yeah.
So does everyone vote for one?
Can I vote for all of them, please?
We can vote for different ones next week, and we can backlog this to next week and figure out if we want to bring back in.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a clarifying question.
Please.
What is a candidate buffer item?
What is the buffer item? Whoa. There's a lot of people
God.
that just dropped off.
We just lost the internet.
Internet's down.
No, the idea was that we can. Maybe I shouldn't explain. Is this better for you to say, William? Go ahead.
I mean, if you know, go for it.
Well, my understanding was that people were kind of getting in a rut of the basics, and that if it became something that they had to pull something in from the buffer, then we'd be continuing to make progress. At the same time, people like Gunnar were in the middle of heading into finals and things like that. I'm having a little bit of some health stuff. Who is our other teammate who's moving and starting a new job? I just forgot her name. Lee. And so there's kind of the how do we continue to move forward and how do we take care of ourselves as we're doing it theme amongst the team members.
Almost. The buffer one that I proposed was to complete at least one buffer item, usually for me, because I'm somewhat OCD, is cleaning, putting tools away, and is one of the things for the shop. For me, personal stuff would be going to work out, because that was actually awesome. Getting back into that routine, climbing better. That's part of that. Eat better, laundry, the normal things that people should do. So for as far as the shop end, I figure having a buffer item, which a lot of our buffer items happens to be a lot of the shop improvements, cleaning and putting stuff away, or making places that are better, more organized for putting other stuff. So that's part of that OCD part coming through as far as what we can improve on. And that was the buffer. Does that answer your question, Joe?
It does. So so for me to be able to vote 2, it was 1, what was 2, what is 3?
So number 1 was to, I believe, have a burn down for
Okay.
burn down chart for what we're trending towards, and then number 2 is to have a better personal care. I think that included like sleeping better, eating better, and etc. And then number 3 was the buffer for putting away tools and cleaning and organizing.
Got it. Okay. Then I think I know what my vote will be. Thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, we lost Lauren and Lee, and we hope that they will come back and be able to give us a vote too, or at least mail it in, send it in. Does everyone on this stand-up currently now know what, or the retrospect, know what they want to vote for? Okay. On the count of 3, everybody put up the number of fingers or that they want to vote for. 1, 2, 3. Nice finger, Doc.
It's been a good day.
It's been a good day. Excellent. So
No, I love you.
we have did I see two ones? No, we have 3s, 3 3s, 4 3s. No, 3 3s, 1 2, 1 1. Okay. We might just get a surprise burn down for our chief product owner, though. Anyways, because that seems good.
Whatever can happen will happen, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got a Kaizen, yeah.
Yep.
So
yep,
now
we do. CrossTalk now.
Awesome. Mary Mike, I'm in Kendall Square, Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was totally rad. I got to guest lecture at MIT Sloan Business School on Monday. Like, this is such a parallel universe life that we read thing. Then Thursday.
So parallel, just for a moment.
Because we're all so totally normal people, normal lives, and then WIKISPEED opportunities. Like Amazon asked for Gunner to come to their radical urban transportation salon. And how often does that happen? They're one of the top 5 market cap companies on the planet. And they're like, hey, William and Gunner, can you come listen to what world experts say about radical urban transportation and share what you know? And that kind of stuff seems to happen on a semi-regular cadence because of WIKISPEED. That's what I mean by parallel universe. Because on a normal day, we're normal people. And then every once in a while, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's crazy because during the stand-up, I
so
just said
I'm in an
we're going to do scope
Airbnb
and not
with,
go that.
I booked the lowest price one that was immediately available because that was the mood I was in when I booked. So I got this amazing mate, Daniel, and he's been making salads.
Way cool.
I'm kind of in a perfect world.
What?
Other crosstalk items.
I brought that up.
I'm wondering if William and Gunner can still it doesn't present.
As far as I know, there's no requirement to present. It seems like a gathering of people that Amazon is interested to learn from, and there's opportunities to schedule presentations, which is an opportunity, and that's all that is, right? I think the real value in the invitation from Amazon's perspective is having those people in the same space, and they get to observe what emerges.
Exactly. I think you and I going would be super
Gunner,
awesome
you
for us.
bring this? You Rockstar?
We're muted.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. I'm down for anything. I
You
guess.
folks should totally email Amazon back. I CC'd you on a mail saying, hey, I'll be in Sweden, but William and Gunnar won't be, and it's going to be awesome. And if you that mail and saying, can we confirm? That would be good, I think.
Yes. Oh, good. That also reminds me of a couple of items. The tires, doctor. I wrote you an email about that. I didn't see a budgeted amount. Do you want to think about it more and get back to me as far as what you had in mind? I'm likely coming to tomorrow to back to the shop to here to grab your old OEM wheels and getting some more in-person estimates. We were looking at either Toyo's or OEM that came with Yokohama's summer tires.
Yeah, I think so too. Man,
it is $9.50 over there.
Tire selection, matters so much, and I like totally nerd out and get into analysis paralysis, and that makes me. I mean, William, you're all about this. So in analysis paralysis, then the only right answer is to see illegal slicks. It's like, well, fine, just put slicks on it, no matter what they cost, because then at least you know you have the right tire. But a lot of slicks don't perform well in rain. And the idea is cascade loop no matter what the summer weather. So we can rule out snow, right?
Yeah.
But gosh, I guess the right answer is in the OEM size. Either the closest thing Doc has, so we get the OEM experience, because wouldn't that be interesting? Or the stickiest thing in any summer weather. So a water-rated track tire, basically. And in terms of budget, usually you can get something in any one of those grades for less than $100 a tire, usually, and which one is about $100 tire seems to change based on the stock they have too much of or whatever. But I'd say up to $500 for the set sounds fine. Don't even worry about calling me.
Okay.
And something that's really the right option that's significantly more than that, please text me, and I'll probably say yes because I trust your opinion. But help at all?
Yep, it does. Okay. And then the tree trimming and slight flooding in the back of the house or back of the shop.
Right.
Those are not in any immediate dangers, but I think getting some attention on those items in the fairly near future would be ideal. I'm proposing that we take a look at those after the Red NSX.
Yeah, product owner, I'm on board. So I'm interested in your opinion of priority. And thanks for bouncing it off me too. I agree. It sounds like getting the Red NSX done, and these things we could always add another project, but basically it's back to OEM conversion, at least this phase of it. Then lets us park back in the house garage, have options again, etc. Then if I follow you, I think you're proposing the next step would, Dr. Lolchek's taking off amazing. That was the best headgear I've seen in a long time.
He's probably just sweating through, like, it's so hot.
Yeah, I'm jealous of the treadmill. Yeah. Now, that's the first time a Canadian has ever said that. You know that, Michael.
It's freaking hot? Oh, no. There's times that happen. Not often. But...
Yeah. Dr. Newing, if I think I heard you correctly, I think you were proposing that after that then, maintenance items that, that fixing them now prevents more damage later.
Yeah.
Things like superior drainage, things like preventing trees from rubbing on the shop when they blow. So stuff that the sooner we get to them, the less maintenance there is after, right? Because not maintaining them causes more maintenance, that type of thing. I'm totally on board. Now that said, in traditional Scrum stakeholder fashion, I've got so many ideas of cool things that I wish Gunnar and everybody could explore that I've never ever been in a company where there weren't more good ideas than there was velocity to do it, ever. And I continue to not be the exception. And so cool ideas, but to prioritize and focus. So I appreciate saying, yeah, let's rock the red NSX and then shop maintenance. But that said, I really hope the next thing after that is, it's not ready yet, right? But I hope the next thing is delivering something to Tim Meyer. And whether that be customizing a Forester or a Civic Hybrid or a Prius, or doing an award ceremony where we hand over the check that is his essentially refund or his deposit on a Model 3, or we bust a hump doing what we always told him we would do and deliver a car, but with his feedback. So he knows what he's getting into and we know where to prioritize. Because the problem for the last few years has been, well, our cars still aren't what I wished they were, so which part to fix first? There's so many areas of opportunity, right? So if Tim can say, here's where I'm willing to compromise and take not my dream or not your dream or whatever, but here's what I do need, then maybe we can get something done. We'll pick one of those. And if so, hopefully we can have this big deal scramble to deliver a car and try to make it the experience we wish that would be, like with some kind of send-off ceremony, and I don't know, whatever we would do. What do we think the ultimate car delivery would be? If Tim ever replies, we get to pick that, and that's probably the next thing that after shop maintenance.
Can I tell you how much I appreciate your integrity and how much I appreciate you wanting to take care of the customer?
Oh wow! Hey, thanks. Now that's great to hear, but with it being years since Tim paid, I
want to put that in perspective, and you're right. I also want to say, I think it's really important to address the water that's pooling at the foundation of the garage, because anything that could compromise the integrity of that structure will really compromise your investment. And I just want to bring that up.
That's an interesting shift.
She's not wrong, everyone. That said, a huge fan of prioritize and focus, and one more week of sucky water. Well, actually, that could do all the damage in the world. But, well, I don't know. What's the release trend on the NSX? Is it near term, or we don't know yet?
I believe it is near term. From what Gunnar has been tracking and showing me, it's looking pretty good. We're glad that we actually found a spare, not a spare, what are they called? Another hardline, the front hardline that connects the two condensers online, and ordered it and had shipped. And also had to order from another one since eBay canceled our order. So sorry, I guess we're not good with communicating with our different employees. But, you know, it's good that we got another one. It looks like it's getting here tomorrow, if not Saturday. So that's good to see. We're aiming to see if we can fit the rest of the hardlines in tonight. If that's the case, then yeah. And then we can start working away on the struts.
We'll find out.
Struts and bumpers are coming next, and that doesn't look like it's too big of a job. So far it's getting a little bit bigger since we are noticing some of the things we need to take out, such as the battery tray. That it was hard to do things in reverse order since we needed something as an example or documented or photo, as Gunnar mentioned from our previous stand-up. So for now, at least, we're actually documenting things and pointing things out where they were installed. So in case we are needing to do this again, we'll know where they need to go and uninstall.
Yep. Yeah, I watched the demo videos. It was helpful. It was cool. I felt plugged in, right? Which is the value. Nick, you froze, for me at least, for a little bit, but it looked like you were mid-gesture. Was there something you needed to communicate? Because I missed it. It's frozen.
It was a happy dance, and I'm back on now.
Perfect. Okay, I'm in.
Gunnar, do you have anything?
Excellent.
I think you said it all.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else?
I think everybody's cool. Okay, I can't help myself. William, don't, please, on my account, don't stop what you're doing. Please prioritize and focus. But I can't help myself. I want to tell you this thing. How much do you remember about RC car racing?
probably too much. But
Yes.
I think they've actually transformed that into drone racing. But what's your question about it?
Yeah. So ultimately, in Scrum, right? We're all familiar with the idea the team can make a rev of the entire product in a week. And WIKISPEED's breakthrough innovation is with a Scrum team, we're able to make a whole WIKISPEED in a week. The downside is the materials are still the cost of materials. We didn't figure out how to make the materials free, but we did figure out how to make adaptive tooling and essentially a team build server, right? So that was our really cool thing, or one of them, right? But it still costs a lot of materials to make a car so we don't get to test everything we learned all around the shops every sprint because it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And although WIKISPEED is making a lot more money than it used to through like public speaking and that kind of jive, from what we've learned, we still don't have thousands and thousands of dollars every week to build another car. So in class today, I was remembering the TEDx video and how we iterated the really cheap composites process at Team WIKISPEED. And we made a whole bunch of tiny little cars and out of foam and made up different carbon fiber techniques that I'd heard about or learned or practiced in composite school, and a bunch more that we just thought of that we had no idea how they would turn out. But it was cheap because they were all tiny. And we let them all cure overnight. And in one 12-hour cycle, we had a ton of test parts done. We pulled them all off, and one of them worked really well. And it's the method we've used for fast composites ever since. And I've never, ever seen anyone do it as cheaply or as quickly ever still. As far as I know, we've set another record there. Well, that got me thinking. We have all these things I wish I could test on steering angle and all this stuff I wish we could test on suspension type. And that's just what's been on the top of my mind. There's all the bugs in basically Tim Meyer's car that I'm not super happy about. It's not the car that I wished we could have made. And I think we could have when Brian Ford and the team were on board. But that was a domain expertise we just don't have trivial access to right now. So my thought was, how do we make it so that we're running at least one test on each of the critical bugs in the car to being the car that we really want to build, or at least my vision, and I'm willing to be lobbied, but at least my vision. And I thought, well, what if we made tiny cars again? And what if we had a commitment where we made a tiny car every sprint, and it need to be small enough that that's totally achievable, something that can be made in just a few hours, but it legitimately is a scale model of the part we're testing. So maybe it has legit tiny little suspension. The rest of it is an RC car we made, right? And I thought, what if we make one or even more than one every week and test something new? Mary Michael.
Is she froze?
The Matrix has you, Mary Michael.
I recognize bandwidth issues.
Definite Matrix.
Yeah, that's really too bad. I want to know what that is. Okay. Mary Mike, if you can hear us, we can't currently hear you. We'll signal you when it looks like your video syncs. That means probably your video will be too. Right now, we've lost R2.
And we've lost her. Okay.
William, what do you think of that idea? Again, not to disrupt what's currently happening. That's the most expensive thing we could do. I don't want a context switch loss. What do you think about that as a potential future thing? You know a significant amount about RC cars. So basically, I'm talking about putting an RC car electric motor.
Yeah.
Actually, a slightly different one that we might for another purpose, but a small electric motor with an Arduino, because that's something that we would actually scale up, and then have that turn the motor on and off or whatever. And we put it in a little we screw it onto a carbon plate that we lay up. So we're getting experience with a little bit of carbon week. and maybe we put a carbon body on top, but we don't even have to. And then we have little aluminum plates that we drill and put a screw in to pivot, and that, or something.
I think
And then
the concept is good. I think you're wanting to get into a lot of the details because you want it to fulfill a lot of your wants right now. And I think,
yeah, well, knock the bugs out of the bug list. Right? So how do we test a solution in a way that we can afford to test a solution every sprint?
So the problem you're wanting to solve is testing all the bugs out in a very low cost and efficient way, which is prototyping smaller parts of it.
Yeah, that's the wish. Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be an RC car then. It could just be
No.
a piece of it that actually functions. Because actually to make a whole front end of one of car number 7 into a 1/10 scale or even 1/8 scale, that's a lot. It's a lot of work. I mean, yes, it would be not as costly because it's less materials, but it's going to take a lot of time to be able to scale everything down and to remake that. And we can actually duplicate that process in CAD and have that movement be made and actually have some of the stress sensors tested for that. That'd probably be a lot faster and also cheaper too because we likely won't need the material. But only until we're building it, then maybe perhaps, oh, we will need this piece right here to have that 3D done. And I might even just bite the bullet and pick up Fusion 360 tonight since they're doing a 2-day sale for that regards to actually uptake my own knowledge. They're either a Mac or Windows based.
Yeah, Fusion 360 I think is free for hobbyists, and I believe we can call ourselves that. I've got a copy on this laptop that I just downloaded for free.
Oh, nice. Yes, Gunnar.
If that is the case too, I'd love to help because I have SolidWorks for up to a year that I can use anytime. I think that'd be pretty cool too. I think that'd be a pretty good experience for me to help out too, if that's okay with you guys.
Absolutely, of course it's always okay. You're here at WIKISPEED.
A better experience.
Just a comment, guys.
Yeah.
I tried making a scale model WIKISPEED, and the mechanical elements gave me a lot of problems. And scaling down the tube, you run into problems with the thickness of the walls, not being able to hold screws, other fasteners. It was far more of a mechanical challenge than I was up to.
I hear you.
That's
Thank you
some
for
of the
sharing
things,
that experience.
That's some of the things I'm foreseeing that it will be a hurdle. I like the concept of what you're trying to do is to scale down some of the modules. So element of your solution of scaling down some of the our modules so that whatever piece that we're working on, if that can be scaled down to cut down on material, then let's apply it. So let's figure out what the rest of the constraints are so we can actually find that solution to your why. Does that make sense?
I also want to build skill in electric motor control in team. Well, that's also one of the blocks to solve. Yeah, go ahead, Michael Olchek.
I just asked if you're sure you want to develop that because it is not exactly a long-lived skill. It is something that is changing fairly fast, and there's a lot of 8-cylinder math involved.
You're talking about electric motor control?
Yes. For AC control, vector control is actually very math intensive.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you for sharing.
Simple DC stuff. If you want to use it for the steering and for
yeah, I think that's
propulsion, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what Joe was proposing, was at least a basic DC components of it, so just to have volunteers or people have an understanding and taste. And I think if that curriculum or part of our WIKISPEED projects move forward to an area where experts want to learn more, combining the AC and the DCs, elements into a build, then yes, we will start figuring out which curriculum and pieces that would be, and also how our cars would support that. Because I think the DC element is that Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, where you want to bring in more Arduino and more autonomous change types, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This is Lauren here.
Yeah, Lauren, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know nothing about any of this, but brainstorming in another offshoot agile pragmatic programmer by Dave Thomas. He talks about tracer bullets. Yeah, you probably know anyway. Yeah, we talked about that once, tracer bullets. And I'm thinking a tracer bullet car would be, you do as much as you can end to end, but you don't worry about parts that aren't done. That way, you've got a basis you can carry on and finish as a real car. So if you might do only like one side of it or something like that, or so that's kind of my thought. It's like a tracer bullet of a car, which is what you do in you can do in your early it's not a prototype. Tracer bullet means but you leave out parts as is practical and convenient. So that's my thought.
Thank you.
And to continue gaining information, Mary Mike back, fantastic. I at least missed everything you said. It was right as connection crackled up on my end, and then we lost you. Is there any part of that I'd like to share again? Oh, did we lose Mary Mike again?
Mary Michael? Hello?
Oh, we came so close.
Yes. Yes, we did. Closer every time.
Dr. Newing, here's also the other evil end. I don't remember if I talked to you about this or not, because I had this thought a few months ago. But maybe this is new. So I was in a hotel room, and I had another chance to fly to the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, a few months ago. And I was thinking, man, it's so expensive for us to ship parts back and forth to the team in Germany. The freight and import duties are just tough. Wouldn't it be so cool if I could just fit all the car parts in my suitcase? Because remember, we were having to leave and fitting 2 suspension in a checked bag, and even just $300 in overweight fees. Like it's just tough. International travel's tough. It was like, how do we get a regular cadence of parts supplies to Germany? Because isn't that also cool? And that's not like the number one main goal. The number one main goal is getting Tim Meyer a car he's proud of. But it's another thing that's useful learning opportunity. It's super silly, fun, and motivating. And it's part of the greater goal, in my opinion. And I thought, well, what is it we really want there, wherever there is, the racetrack? I thought really sticky tires that spin with a lot of force in the direction you want. I was like, yeah, that's really all we need. Everything else is waste, right? All the rest of the car that's cool, red Recaro racing seats, all those other things I'm interested in, they're all actually waste. The value is getting really sticky tires, spinning as hard as they can in the direction you want. I thought, well, could I just ship tires over? Yes. 4 race tires will fit in 4, and that's not impossible. You could just fly with those.
Depends on the
and
size.
I thought, okay. Well, what if there was a high-power engine in each wheel? And I was looking up again the 20 horsepower helicopter DCR motors. And I thought, that's no problem. We can fabricate that right onto our hub assembly, I think. It sounds like it's no problem. It's solvable. And then, well, what about a unit? Well, it's DC, so that's not as complex. And maybe we could even start this with a FET on the Arduino board. I thought maybe that's something we could do in team. It sounds like it. I haven't done it before, but I think we could. And I thought, well, then hell, if you have gloves inside each wheel and you're holding directly onto the motors, and then you have ski boots attached to the motor on each rear wheel, and you're the chassis, and you just go around the motherfucking Nürburgring with 80 electric horsepower and the widest racing slicks ever, and you put on a helmet, and everything else is waste. And I thought that might be a little too extreme. I'll totally do it, and we should try it. But what are our options? And I thought, okay, maybe you're laying on like a little carbon plate, basically, that connects those four corners. So it's like the chassis of an RC car, maybe even simpler. Or maybe even get in like a little crash pod. But it's more like a bobsled than anything else. It's more like a suit, like a carbon suit. You like get in from the back, and your hands are inside the wheels that hold them, and you just steer them directly, right? So there's no steering linkage, there's no Ackerman angle to worry about. You just pull on the wheels, and like maybe,
I think
you know,
that
well, if we had already done more
Yeah.
DC motor control, if that was
I could be wrong.
a skill that was across the team, and we knew if that was something we could do at all. So what if we had Arduinos that were toggling on a FET to control a 1 horsepower electric motor? Well, all it is a bigger FET to control a larger motor. As far as I know, that's legitimately true. So it's the same learning applies. And if we have a motor spinning a little wheel, well, it's just a difference in linkage to have a bigger motor spin a bigger wheel. And how cool is it to eventually put one of those 20 horsepower DC motors in a small thing anyway? So then we're using the same motor even. So we just plug it to a different wheel. And I thought maybe we could attack it one piece at a time. Now, it's not the time to do that yet anyway. Higher priority to ship some of the stuff that's in flight. But that's part of the idea. And so I was like, what's the scaled down version? Well, what if we had a 12-inch by 6-inch carbon plate and we screwed on existing RC motor wheels and had an off-the-shelf RC motor or a 1 horsepower cheap motor, which it's $20 for a 1 horsepower DC motor, which is a ton of power in a little RC car. And then what we worry about is the Arduino FET to turn the motor on and off. It's something maybe we would refine a lot more as it becomes closer to a time to even try something like that. Merrick, you're back again. Quick, before you lose connection, would you like to share what you were going to say?
My whole deal was about scalability. It really works for composite models. How do you scale other things like the systems you're talking about now? So obviously you went there naturally.
Oh, okay, I get it. Let me see if I can do this thing. Come on, here we go. I hope people are now seeing my desktop. I hope.
Yes.
Are people seeing my desktop?
Yes.
Okay, this is the Mark Forged. I've been pulling them for years. They're actually based less than a mile from where I'm sitting right now, but they're not free at basically $14,000 after tax, but it's possible. WIKISPEED could figure out how to get one. Well, what they do, are there any good pictures here? No, there aren't, of course. What they do is they print in structural carbon fiber machines, and the work envelope is not big. It's like 12 inches by 8 inches by 4 inches, something like that. But it's carbon fiber, and come on, where's all the cool pictures that show the kind of thing it can make? It'll print a honeycomb inside the part, and they're structural parts. They're for reals parts. And the idea I was thinking is we can just print all of those, and that's it. Like, so that's your micro factory, right? And the dream would be to do that for the whole car, but you just print the whole car and go. And you have to come back in and put in screws, like Michael Olchek was saying, for pivot points. That's a real thing, and I've done something similar before with mini WIKISPEED cars. But basically, you print it all in one go, and then you come back in and you drill out pre-marked locations, and then thread in with your pivots, and you're done. You can print gears, you can print whatever. Cooler than that, but I don't think we can afford it, is they've just come up with a larger unit in structural cutting and a larger unit in metal. Now, metal printing has been around for a long time, but the downside has been the metal parts weren't nearly as strong as traditional metal parts because they were basically metal dust laying together and then hit with a laser that melts it together, which means it's only as strong as a weld. And welds are much weaker than stress-relieved annealed metals. So if you annealed them afterwards, they'd be strong again, but that's a two-step operation and it kind of misses the point of rapid prototyping. Because annealing is a long lead, long temperature ramp up, long temperature ramp down, energy intensive process that you have to do after. What these folks have done is they have a different technology that doesn't require annealing, and it's almost as strong as traditional metal parts. And they do it in titanium, they do it in aluminum, they do it in steel. And just print them out. They aren't very big. They're just a little bit bigger than a shoebox. But they're big enough to be an RC car and just print it in one go. Now, I don't think we can afford their Metal X. I assume it's $250,000, $100,000. $250,000. I don't think we can get it. But this is where the technology is going, and it's only getting cheaper. So to be with the cheap machine in their ecosystem, the Mark II for basically $14,000, maybe we could pull it off. And this would definitely print the motor holder that goes inside the race wheel with your ski boot attachment or whatever. Like we could just 3D print the whole thing, which is what I wanted to do since WIKISPEED started, but the technology didn't exist. So instead we machined a foam and wrapped them in carbon fiber. But this allows you to do sharper edged shapes, so you can do things like gears, which we couldn't do, small at least. We could only do huge gears with the foam wrapped in carbon technique. So the technology is emerging to allow closer and closer to the vision of you just an out and your factory is a big printer. And I think this lets us tackle most of these other parts. Now, I don't own this machine at the moment, but it seems like something we could start reasonably thinking about and refine backlog for. I'll try to exit full screen.
Gotcha. A really, really big sprint planning type of conversation that we should have.
Yeah, but not until some of the current stuff ships.
Yeah. Agreed. We are actually coming up on an hour and a half for the stand-up and crosstalk in retrospect before we wrap up.
If you guys can hear me, I'd like to make a comment on Joe's DC stuff. What you're trying to accomplish, the Arduino has shields, and you can do that almost off the shelf as long as you're willing to do it at relatively low current. Trouble is getting rid of the heat, and mechanically, I'm sure we can come up with a way to do that. But the small stuff that you get in the shield is limited by the current.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if we did it, we would have to make our own shield with a larger FET. But the control mechanism should be the same, right, Michael? You're basically just turning on and off a FET. It's just what's the cooling sink on the FET and makes the FET rated, right? But if we make our own shield with a 1 kilowatt FET, then we're fine, right?
Normally, you put the FETs in parallel, or you use IGBTs, whatever you want to do. It's something that you need a little bit of expertise in to do it well. We can probably get Paul to do something like that for us, should we choose. But whatever. I think he's open to and worst case, we can take a cordless drill and hook 4 of them up to an Arduino. They already got the gearboxes, and we can just drive the wheels. And that's it for my comment.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Does anyone have anything else? Welcome back, Mary Michael.
I'm good.
Okay.
Team, let's rock.
All right. Thanks very much. That concludes our crosstalk. Have a good night.